Hi, I just wanted to take this opportunity to talk a little about what I'm doing going forward in the future of this channel. Originally, I hoped to get one of these videos out every 10 days, but these tutorials take up a lot of time, and I like to focus a bit more on my own personal projects. So I will still be doing tutorials, but they will be shorter, but they'll continue to be focused on making animated movies using iClone, CC3 and Unreal. However, if you've been following my tunes so far, you should be well on your way to making some awesome animated films, short form or otherwise. Once a week, I shall try and do a live stream where you can ask me your questions, and I'll put the timing details below. I will also edit any live streams that contain new information and release them here as usual. I'm also offering paid one-on-one sessions to anyone who requires help setting up their animation projects with CC3, iClone and Unreal. So if you're interested, you can contact me on the business email below. Until then, here's a tutorial on how to create a point of view camera in Unreal. It's also a bit of an introduction to blueprints, if you've ever wondered how to do those, but very, very general. And there are some handy tips on making parts of your character's body invisible in Unreal. Great if you want to swap heads and things like that. You know, put a character creator 3 body together with some other head, or that sort of thing. Anyway, I hope you enjoy, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Have a great one. All right, so we are gonna talk about how we can make this point of view camera to get this nice effect. I'm gonna go through 2 methods. One is a blueprint method and one is non-blueprint method, and show you the advantages and disadvantages of both. Basically, one of the ways that you can also do this is by removing the head of your CC3 character and just exporting that in, and you can do it that way, which means that you will have 2 different meshes, one with a head obviously and one without, and you use the without to achieve that point of view camera effect. The other way is to go to your mesh asset details and basically disable the areas that you don't want, which includes obviously the mouth, the face, the eyes, the eyelashes, or whatever. So you don't actually need to import a new CC3 mesh. So this is a blueprint I created earlier, and I'm just gonna show you how to recreate this and basically cover the importance of parenting to a socket. In this case would be the head socket. So yeah, let's make that new blueprint. You go to the blueprint actor and select that. The other way, which I'll go over, the second method I'll go over in a bit, doesn't require a blueprint, and if you're blueprint averse, you can use that way. But moving on, I select the skeleton mesh, the skeletal mesh, and then add the one without the head to the details mesh tab. Now you can add your camera. And position it appropriately. this case, I should have parented the head first, then position the camera, as you will see in a second. So this is how you parent it to the head, and yeah, that sends the camera off that way, but it's easy enough to fix. You can zero out your transforms to put yourself in a better position. And there we have the camera on the head. And I use a animation just to test to see whether it works. You can select any one of those that are associated with that particular mesh. I mean, you could in theory like mimic the movement of a camera and keyframe it, but I find this way is a lot easier and a bit more fun. Plus, you know, who doesn't need a knight walking around with a camera for a head? So you just drag the blueprint to the scene, and you'd eventually add it to your sequencer, which I've done already there. And before we go any further, I'll show you the other method, the one that involves not using a blueprint. So basically, you just drag a camera onto your scene, and you would parent it in the same way to your object or your mesh. But in the case of a blueprint, it doesn't work. So you have to actually parent it to an actual skeletal mesh, which is luckily I've got quite a few here. So I'm going to parent it to this demon character, or Gollum's older brother, which I've done there. And of course you can see that option to parent it appeared, so you know you're on the right track. And then you just add them to the sequencer. Now in this case nothing is happening because although it's parented to the character, there's no animation that's been brought in for that character. So I was going to add him, but I think he might be already in the scene. Anyway, I'll add him there and add an animation. And just check, and you can see it's all parented nicely. And then I'll select the camera. You click on that camera icon to select between your cameras which ones you want to actually use. So there's the head cam of the knight, and you can select the view there. So now we're viewing through the knight, who is going through his idle animations, and this is the view from the fiend, who's also going through his idle animations. So now to add properties in sequencer for the camera, you can just use the plus track button and then add the individual properties that you want to adjust during your animation. And you can just mess with the settings here to change things. In this case, I'm changing the film back to adjust the screen or the view of the camera. You can also do the same through the details tab on the far right. I'll show you later. In fact, it's probably easier to change it on the right to using the details tab. I find some things it's okay to change it on the details tab, and it works, and others you have to do it within sequencer. But if you experiment, you should find out what works and what doesn't. But for me, both work. But I know earlier versions of Unreal, one would work and the other wouldn't. But I'm using 4.27. So anyway, so there you have it. That's how you do your point of view things. I hope you found this useful. And I will leave all those links and my email contact in the comments below. So this is Mr. H signing off. Hope you have a good week.